I'm very happy to be here. The reason why I'm here, basically for us, is not far-fetched. Two things, internet and mobile phone. Without internet and mobile phone, I can't be standing on this podium speaking to this distinguished audience. And also, I think this is a testimony to what young Africans can do if they work collaboratively and be able to use their understanding of the behavioral communication patterns of young people and then understanding of improvements in digital communications and apply it to our society and see how we can transform our own environment. Incidentally, for the same reason, internet and mobile phones, tomorrow we will be at MTN headquarters because we are signing off an agreement to roll out Afrinolly in the whole of South Africa, and there are 16 operating countries in Africa. So it's such a big thing, but at the same time, if you look back, the main story is that 2 years ago, we didn't even know about Afrinolly. It was only when the Google Android Developers Challenge was called that we actually thought about, look. And again, it goes back to how we relate with data. Because we're at a conference and Google was, product managers were just narrating what people are searching for in Africa. And one of the things that stood out was movie. And we say, hang on, we don't even have any way of collating the content or letting people know what's happening in African movie ecosystem. And we knew of the IMDb app, but we thought, okay, fine, if there's IMDb doing it in Hollywood, who's actually doing it for us in Africa? So we saw a gap there, and that's what motivated us to build Afrinolly. And when we built it for the competition, but it didn't take long before we realized that it was a product. So even when we won the competition, we took the $25,000 we won and put it into publicizing Afrinolly. And today, we have over 3 million downloads. And today, we have people, one of the exciting things we found out is that today, we have people, from Saudi Arabia connecting and downloading Afrinolly and consuming content across Africa. The beautiful thing about Afrinolly is that it's not only about Nollywood, it's actually African movies. There are lots of movies here. In fact, we are producing more movies here. We have more movie filmmakers here in South Africa than every other part of Africa. But the problem is, the rest of Africa sometimes don't get to see the content. So we're using Afrinolly to actually drive that. And one of the things we found out is that cinemas are a big deal in Africa. We don't have too many cinemas, but we all have our mobile phones. So we are more or less transiting content, bypassing cinemas and connecting people through their mobile phones to those contents. The first thing we found out after the competition was that people would like to watch content from their mobile devices, but it's a lot more convenient to watch shorter content. It's not ideal to watch a 1 hour, 30 minutes movie on your mobile phone. So we began to ask, who is doing short films? Apparently, there was nobody paying attention to short film because there's no way of monetizing short film. So we instituted what you call Afrinolly Short Film Competition. We put down $100,000, and then we asked people to actually make African movies. We ran the first year, and incidentally, the second edition commenced 2 days ago. What we observed in the first year was a bit more than what we expected. There are a high number of Africans in the diaspora. They've gone to New York film schools, they've gone to film schools in Europe, they've been trained very well, they want to tell African stories. But they will tell African stories. We need a platform to help them actually push it out because they want to show their skills. They are different from the original set of movie makers we generated, whether it's Nollywood or across Africa 20 years ago. Those ones don't understand digital. They don't understand social media. They don't understand the internet. This young bunch are very switched on. They know what to do. They can tell African stories very well, but they need a platform. So we set up the short film competition. The second edition started day before yesterday. And we're excited about it because now we are generating content. And that was one of the things we discussed a month ago at the Durban Film Festival. Because when we came to the Durban Film Festival and showed them the app, they were like, wow, this is awesome. So first thing we showed them is that you can actually cut down cost as a filmmaker. Because when a filmmaker is thinking about production, they only think about cost around production and content and creativity. They don't think about cost for publicity and marketing. It's only after they finish, they realize that, hang on, how do we get people to know about this wonderful movie? And it becomes a big challenge. Now they are realizing that with their trailers, even before the movie goes out, they can put it on Afrinolly and people can connect with it. They can actually build an audience before the movie gets released. And if they are smart, they can actually use that trailer community to actually go back to investors and say, do you want to put your placement on this, given that it's already garnered a community? So they are seeing new opportunities, new business models which they can tap into. But how did we even get to this point? Internet. Access to internet at our level was very critical for us. So we're able to download YouTube videos. We crack a joke in our office that we are part of Stanford entrepreneurship leadership class, but just that they don't know us. Each time they finish their lecture and upload it, we download. We study it. We read blogs, whether from Fred Wilson, whether from Mark Schuster. So we follow these things. And each time we look at them, we are trying to ask ourselves, we know our environment. We know the challenges in our environment. How can we apply this knowledge to our environment? How have we survived? We survived bootstrapping. But one key thing about survival is that whilst we are building apps, we also found out that we can be a digital agency to corporations who are trying to reach out to young people. So we started providing digital agency services. We'll make small revenue from digital agency services and use it to finance our R&D work on mobile applications. That's how we survived. Those opportunities are still there, and many people can actually tap into it. You know, it's very interesting when you empower young people to provide solutions for their peers. They know these challenges, they know the problems, but once they have the appropriate tools and the operating environment, they can actually do a lot more. And that's one of the things we are hoping that can spin out that there is room for growth if we can empower, you know, it's more like a Google campus. We run like a Google campus. Our office is downstairs. I live upstairs with my family. The rest of the staff are living 2 blocks away. So we're together all the time. We're discussing all the time. We're following what's going on, and we're innovating. And we're a multidisciplinary team. Don't expect that only developers can come up with a solution for Africa. It doesn't work like that. We need to put them together in a multidisciplinary team because that's how we are in an office. So you find people producing, thinking and talking, and based on that, we're able to generate solutions which we are providing. That's one of the things I'm begging the government to say, look, if as we think in terms of moving in this direction, also think in terms of encouraging private sector-driven collaborations in small units like a Google campus. It will really help a great deal. They will be self-sustaining because they can provide solutions to corporations. I'm going to round up soon, but one of the things I also noticed is that when we moved on with the Afrinolly short film competition, after the first year, we generated a pool of budding filmmakers. So we went back to international organizations and told them, you've been trying to drive social change across Africa. You fund NGOs. Every time they write piles of reports that nobody reads. Why don't you give these reports to our filtered budding filmmakers and they can convert it into a movie? If they convert it into a short film, we can deploy it through Afrinolly and more people will be able to reach onto what you're trying to communicate. So today, one of the international organizations, Ford Foundation, has agreed to collaborate with us in this area because they found out that with this, young people will be able to internalize what's going on and be able to do a lot more. There's a lot more to share, but I think I have very little time. But I want you to know, and I want the rest of young Africans to know, this is our time. Internet, mobile, they are what we might call something that enables us to transcend the difficulties we're having. And I think this is a good time to take that opportunity. Thank you so much for having me.